Good morning. Top of the morning to you. I'm Raymond Hauser, author of The Winning Advantage. Tap into your richest resources. And yes, you have a lot of rich resources within you. Of the 7.6 billion population on the planet, no one is exactly like you. You have riches untold. Unfortunately, so many of us grow old and never accomplish what we hope to or are capable of doing. I had a great mentor in my life. One of them, name was Mort Utley. He helped develop Jefferson National Life Insurance Company in Indianapolis. I sat and talked to him for hours. He was a great speaker at the Southwestern Company. I'd sold books for so many years, 19 years in the book business. But he said, Doug, if you ever find a job or career that you love so much, you do it for nothing, but yet you do it so well, people want you bad enough to pay you to do it. He said, you found your niche in life. And he said, unfortunately, less than 4% of the working population ever finds their niche in life. And a lot of the reason behind that is because we hold ourselves back. It's not the company, it's not the circumstances, but it's how we look at those and how we feel about those. Many times we'll develop a very low self-image, and that's what this morning's broadcast is about, this podcast is about. A low self-image that many are tagged with, unfortunately. And it's not the company's fault, it's our fault and how we look at circumstances. Yes, you are a unique individual, but if you let events determine your outlook on life and the attitude about yourself, you'll be misled. And the undetermined individual, you become molded in a shell that never cracked. And so many times, success or failure in business is caused more by what the mental attitude than even by the mental capability, than your mental capabilities. And that was by Walter Dale Scott. Now, self-esteem is something that we can attain and maintain and retain. Self-esteem is something that we all are allowed to have. Unfortunately, there are circumstances that offset those, and the way we look at those circumstances determine a negative outlook on ourselves. Many times we do things that turn out bad. We didn't have the intention, but it was circumstances that were unexpected. Don't judge yourself by the event or the negative outcome of circumstances. This is key. The event was in and of itself. You are the person. Now, learn from the event and the setbacks for sure, and that will help you with your self-esteem. Self-esteem should not be necessarily associated with accomplishments. You have a right to feel good about yourself, whether the accomplishments are present or not. And look at yourself as a unique individual being. And you are an important person. You are an important person to others and to the people that you associate with. It's a quote by Charles Swindoll. Life is 10% what happens to me and 90% how I react to it. It depends on you how you react. Now, that doesn't mean that you go out and you have a flat tire in your car and you're supposed to be juvenile and happy about it. No, but you look at it as an opportunity to learn how to change a flat. And if you don't want to look at it that way, then you call AAA and let them do it. But you don't develop a negative attitude about the day and yourself and the car. And that's the way we control our thinking. And we all have control of our thinking and how we think and see things. Many times people see the same thing but look at it in different ways. And what we want to do is look at it in the way that yield a high self-image. Three lists here that you might want to jot down, and this would be a good morning to have a notebook to write down a few things. Improving self-image involves three important steps. Be loved and to love others. Love yourself and love others. Be open-minded to others and look for the good in others. Don't judge them, maybe a weird hairdo or the way they wear clothes, or they don't like a certain political party that you like. Number two, feel worthwhile to yourself and to others. Realize that you are valuable. You are a very unique individual. You weren't just created out of nowhere. You were created with a unique purpose in life. And number 3, succeed at what you are doing. Be successful at what you are doing and setting goals. And there's a whole other chapters and material that we'll cover in order to do that, as we already have. But look at the things you've done right. Look at the things that are going your way. It's trash talk many times. You do things a little wrong and they turn out a little different, and you start telling yourself, well, I'm just never going to accomplish that, and I'm just a nobody, and my daddy couldn't do it, my mother couldn't do it, and why should I be able to do it? And so trash talk. And also sometimes you'll be at a party and other people will talk you down, just playing with you and kidding with you, but you take that seriously. Well, that's not the way to do it. You should smile and laugh at them and say to yourself, only if you knew the truth, and then laugh, at them. Don't let them pull you down for a lower self-image and self-esteem. How to overcome. You think unpleasant thoughts and exit those unpleasant thoughts. You don't let them control you. Recall the undesirable feelings that it created. Remember those times that you had unpleasant thoughts, and think about the times and how it created negative feedback. Ask yourself, do I still want to judge myself the same way? Do you really want to judge yourself that way? And number 4, then ask yourself the big question, do I want to keep doing this to myself? Do you want to keep doing this to yourself? Make an analogy. Make an analogy there of your own feelings. Doing so with no purpose. If you have no purpose, then you're a wandering generality, and that's not the way to go. Have a goal in life of what you want to get done. It's a matter of just small things. It doesn't have to be building an empire or building a building. Set some goals and think about the path to get to that goal. Think about the few stumbling blocks that you may have and accept them as they occur. Don't let them be a surprise. Many times you'll say to yourself, oh, I didn't know that was going to happen. Well, be prepared for unexpected events to happen. That's important. That's a good way to keep a strong self-image. What can you do as far as for others? What can you do that helps add the value to the lives of other people? You have a choice to forgive yourself. You do have that choice. That's a mental attitude that you can have, and you should implement that at all times. Forgive yourself. Okay, just because things didn't go right doesn't mean you're a bad person. Don't look at it that way. That's only a pullback. Now, control your thinking. You control your life. You always, and it's how you think that's so important. Cary Grant was a famous movie star that you may not be familiar with, but he left a very troubled family life in Europe and came to America, and he followed through with his dream. He was a great actor, a very wealthy person, and he was asked what caused this. He said, I followed the image that I wanted to be. I saw some inspiration through other people, and I wanted to be like them. Another situation was that I met Mike Tyson in person. It was in Las Vegas. He was going around the world giving public speeches and talking about his life, like a 2-hour speech. And afterwards, there was an opportunity for those of us that had paid extra to line up and come and ask him personal questions, talk to him in person. We had about 20 of us out of 400 and something people that were there were in line to go talk to Mike. Well, my boxing coach told me to ask him 2 questions when I faced him. He said, one, ask him, what does he think about the media and the effect that it might have on him? And Mike answered that question by saying, they don't have any effect on me. I don't pay attention to them. And the other question was, who was the most influential person in your life? And he said, Gus D'Amato. And I asked him, why was that? He said, when I was 16 and boxing in a ring, He came up to me after the fight, put his arm around me, looked me square in the eye, and he said, "Someday you're going to be a great champion." And by the time he was 20 years old, he was a world champion, youngest world champion in history at 20 years old. Yes, he had a dream, and he saw himself as that. Didn't mean that he didn't have to take some punches or have some setbacks and even knocked down from time to time. But what Gus Yamato did for him, it gave him a new outlook on life, a new belief in himself, and he made history with it. You can do the same. You can be the same, and everyone has that opportunity. Don't let past influences and people unqualified to judge you and for you to keep that judgment within yourself, because that's an unfair retaliation. It's something that you don't deserve. You can build up a steep price of feeling good about yourself, regardless of what might occur event-wise. Events are not what determine your life. It's only how you look at those events and the consequences thereof. Sometimes a teacher, money always follows success. Many times people think they got to make the money and there'll be a success. Well, that's not true. You set goals and you take step by step toward those goals. And if you have a goal that underlines the benefit of others, then that'll be a more enhanceable type goal that you'll be proud of and you'll carry with you for a lifetime. A very important quote by William Jennings Bryan: "The way to develop self-confidence is to do the thing you fear and to get a record of successful experiences behind you." Get a record of successful experiences behind you. It's the old quote that we've always realized, is that when fear knocked on faith's door, faith answered the door and no one was there. Yes, when you do the things you fear, the death of fear is certain, and you feel good about it, you develop a good self-image. And fear, as we spelled out, fear is false evidence appearing real. It doesn't have to be real, and it won't be if you face it and you go for it and look for the opportunities thereof. That's the way to overcome it. It's very important. Sidney Harris, I'll read this quote: "90% of the world's woe comes from people not knowing themselves, their abilities, their frailties, and even their real virtues. Most of us go almost all the way through life as complete strangers to ourselves. We never get introduced to the most important person on the planet, and that is ourselves. And that's unfortunate, and that doesn't have to be. Ask yourself, how important is self-image? Suppose that your best friend told you that you were one of the most dynamic, capable individuals on the planet. Wouldn't that mean something to you? Wouldn't that be of value to you? Yes, of course it would. Negative self-talk and negative behaviors, that never helps. So avoid those things. Look for the good. Look for the good in every situation. Realize a few things, and this is something else you want to jot down. Other people do not determine my destiny. Regardless of what they think about you or circumstances that might evolve with their association, they do not determine your destiny. Your mind and your thoughts are determine your destiny. God needs me. I have a destiny to fulfill. You are put here for a purpose. It wasn't an accident. Nothing negative that has happened in the past should dictate my future. And this is what we've been going over so many times that we need to go over. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens. And that's really true. He's our guiding light. He is our teacher. He is the one that we believe in and follow him. You can make a wonderful change about your life. The best bet is to bet on yourself. That's the best that never fails to pay a dividend. Now ask yourself, are you capable of perfection? Are you the perfect individual? No. We'll all make mistakes. We all have setbacks. That's part of breathing. And that doesn't mean that you can't overcome those. Is it right to be honest with yourself? Sure, it is. Always be honest. What about the contributions that you've made to charity? Those are things to feel good about yourself. Have you helped that old lady across the street? Knocked on her door maybe and asked if you could bring something to her house for her, maybe a groceries or so. Have you been benefit to other people in class if you're a student? How do you want to live your life? This is a question you must ask. Do you want to be ruled by self-defeating habits and influences and images of yourself? Well, of course we don't. And it's very important. I didn't get a lot of notice as a child. Had a big family and a lot of things, environment that the mother and daddy were involved in to try to make a living to support us. And so it was a good opportunity. They didn't want to pay a lot of attention to me maybe, as they could have and should have maybe, and had to do it all over again. Well, no one can really pull you up very high, it's been said. You lose your grip on the rope, but on your 2 feet, you can climb mountains. Yes, don't depend on others. You look at yourself in the way that you should look at, and it's the way that God looks at you. It's important that you accept the belief in yourself because you're put here for a purpose. And boosting your self-image and learning to process that image, there's a few steps that you can take. Action, it's been said, doesn't always bring happiness, but there is no happiness without action. Yes, you must take action. Don't sit around cutting yourself up mentally about what might have happened in the past and judging yourself from a negative perspective. There's no gain in that. It's only lying to yourself. Those are lies you tell yourself, and don't follow those lies. Here's some steps that you want to write down. Write down your goals and act as though you have already realized them. Think about what you want to really accomplish. Visualize you having already accomplished those and how you would feel about it. How is it going to make you feel? Develop the habit to record a success when it does happen. Write down those good things that happened. You took on to believe. It doesn't have to be a major thing. You mowed the yard with a lawnmower and got it all done. You look at it, what an accomplishment. Wow, how beautiful that looks. Make other people feel important, at least 2 people a day. Compliment 2 people a day about certain something they've done. Give them a self-image. Show them that you care about them. And this really will help them, but it helps you immensely because you're taking your thoughts off yourself. Start and stay with an exercise program. It's important to exercise because if we don't have our health, you can have all the money in the world, but it really won't be of value to you. Read and listen to inspirational tapes. This is very important. CDs, get some that are great motivators. Cabot Roberts, the Norman Vincent Peales, the Zig Ziglars of the world. Get these books that we learn from 3 sources. We learn from classroom, auditorium, taking notes, and the second way, and not necessarily order of importance, but through books and that have been left for prosperity. The Norman Vincent Peales, the Carl Sandburgs, Zig Ziglars of the world. And the third way would be through talking to successful people that have really done well. Tell me some of the difficulties you've had in life. What are some of the things you know today you'd like to know 40 years ago, Mr. Jones? Why did you push yourself on? What caused you to keep on keeping on? Asking those questions has been the greatest source of my success and happiness in life. Write down all the things that you're doing well and those that are not going so well. Focus on the positive. Write those things down. And another thing you want to write down is smile at others. You'll be surprised how often the gesture will be returned. When you're seeing people, look them in the eye when you're shaking hands and smile at them. Give them a good grip and look them right in the eye. See the good in others, especially those whose opinions are different than yours, that you disagree with. But see the good in them, and there'll be something good about what anybody will say. Remember that God sees the good inside of each of us, so why don't we see the good in others? Persistence seems difficulty in every opportunity. The optimist sees opportunity in every difficulty. Look at the good things you've done since you've been here. You learn how to read. You learn how to drive a car. You learn how to greet people, make friends. Look at those things and focus on those, and it'll be the best of your life. And the takeaway to all of this is, when you enhance your self-image, you will find contentment. You'll feel good about yourself. You'll live a happier life. Accept that you are a valuable person. You are unique. As we've said earlier, nobody else on the planet is just like you. And fear of success can hold you back as much as the fear of failure. The fear of success. Take that one step at a time. Don't worry about the whole mountain. It won't happen at one time. Positive thinking leads to positive emotions. If you think positively about yourself and the opportunities ahead of you, your emotions will follow. They will follow. Money follows success. It's not the other way around. And confidence grows when you extend your hand to others. When your hand is extended mentally and physically, confidence grows. And look them square in the eye, as we mentioned earlier. And the last is, to be confident is to act in faith. You have to act in faith and believe. If you have pearls that you know you haven't used yet, mountains of wisdom that haven't been exploited, pick up a copy of my book, The Winning Advantage. Tap into your richest resources. Thank you and good morning. Use your talents, embrace your abilities, and pick up a copy of my book. Click the link on my website, thewinningadvantage.com, and purchase one of my books on Amazon. See you next week, Tuesday, 9 o'clock.